in while I'm on this thing.
That's okay, bro. Right. What's going on, everybody, man? It's good to see everybody back. How are you guys all doing? Again, apologies for last weekend because I was completely out of it. I was still struggling, wheezy, tight chest, short of breath, and I just couldn't do anything on the Tottenham side. But I did do a vlog for the Europa League, so you guys can see that it's up on the channel now. Big shout out to everybody out there. What's going on, my people? Neil, how are you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. It's been a good week. Everything other than football is being good. Well, football's not been too bad, but it could be better for us. It could be better for
Mm.
us. And we've got the mighty Gunners tomorrow.
Yeah,
What
it's
more
going
can
to
I
be
say?
a heck of a game, man, and we're going to talk about it today. So, what's going on, everybody? Listen, let me know what you guys think about the game today. Give me your thoughts, and let me know what you think is going to be probably one of our most important games. When we did the prediction for the first 10 games, the three games that stood out was Man United away, Spurs, and Liverpool at home, and we were all going to say that's going to shape the fact that we need to do really well. And I think everybody was happy to win 8 out of our first 10 games. And we looked at the Man United and the Spurs and the Liverpool game as the games that we were going to trip up. And if we win against Liverpool, it's going to really surprise everybody. But we all know how it works. It's normally a 3-goal gap that Liverpool normally win by. Imagine you beat a team over the last 5 years by an average of 3 goals. That means it's not even close. If your average wins against Arsenal is by 3 goals, there has been no close games between the clubs, like none.
Obviously, I want
So,
that to continue, but we'll have to see what happens tomorrow.
so what we got, guys, is obviously we talk about Arsenal. Arsenal are in tremendous form at the moment. They enter the weekend sitting top of the table after another superb win against Tottenham. Some might even say Tottenham wasn't really a test for two reasons. One, because it's a derby. I kind of don't agree with that. A test is always a test. But Spurs never win at the Emirates, and we never win at their place. So we've got this, as I said in the preview, either team has yet to break the chain. So for Arsenal, it means really going to Spurs' place this season and winning there. That's going to be the only thing that's going to break the chain. Whereas Liverpool is more of a truer test because there's no derby there. There's just Liverpool's dominance over Arsenal, which is it's like those bogey teams, isn't it? It's like if you take Liverpool, they never get results against Crystal Palace, and if you take Spurs,
Yeah,
they
thanks.
never get results over Chelsea.
It
Yeah, it is true, Neil. It's
is true, but
true.
yeah, thanks for reminding me. Yeah, I said today's supposed to be a good day. It's supposed to be a good day. Yeah.
So, in regards to Arsenal, I think 2 wins in the last week. Obviously, Spurs and Glint. Liverpool season, in my opinion, what's your thoughts of Liverpool season so far, Neil? It's yet to take off. They haven't really achieved any consistency from last season. Um,
You
Obviously,
can't
the 3-3 draw against Brighton last week.
you can't compare the two seasons, to be honest. The beginning of the two seasons. Last season we did well. And last season we ended really strongly. This season, I don't know. I've heard so many excuses of why Liverpool are playing so bad. And but the one that's most common is that they've played too many games, too many games, too many games. But to be honest, I disagree with this playing too many games crap because um, and this is really weird for some people, but these guys they play what an average a game a week. And if the international is there, then some of them don't even get to play the game if they're not in their international team. So when you look at how they train and look at how they play, how are they going to be tired? How are they? There's so much time, and when you look at international breaks and stuff like that, it's not like us. We work at least 5 days a week for 8 hours a day. Now, if football is played like that, I can see why they're tired, but they're not. It's like one game a week. If they're in the top four, top six European games.
Yeah, that's hard to say because I know from Amazon Prime and being a part of that process that is a lot more. is a lot more than what goes on in terms of when they have to beat the training ground at 8:30, and then they have their nutritional breakfast and their meal. Then they have a class session. Then they have their first training session. After that training session, they have lunch. Depending on what day of the week it is,
That sounds so tiring. That sounds so tiring.
well, it's just the stuff they do on the pitch. I mean, the first training session is an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And then they'll go in to have lunch. Depending on what day it is. If it's a Monday, like straight after the weekend game, then they'll have film. They'll have a film room that takes up most of the afternoon. But if it's a Tuesday or sort of maybe a Wednesday or Thursday, that afternoon will be another training session. So it probably
a lot of the stuff that they do isn't necessarily physical. As in tiring, as in one about. No, the training sessions are, but outside of training sessions, they're still getting plenty of rest. It's not like they've only got 3 hours for the day and then it's the following day.
Yeah.
I suppose they've got to run around with their wives and do their shopping and all that sort of stuff as well. Yeah, that can be very tiring. Yeah, definitely. Especially if they're following their wives around,
A lot of it as well is measured by the intensity of the game because, some games, teams just don't turn up. One of the things I notice about Jurgen Klopp's team is they don't Jurgen Klopp and Pep were the sort of two biggest pressing teams. I used to measure the pressing on the Sportsmall site to see, which teams press the hardest, how long they press for, and blah blah. And Liverpool over the last few years have been one of the highest. This season they're 17th, so they're one of the lowest. So so that all goes into it. I guess it goes into the intensity of the game, where if you're not working as hard, running as much kilometers, then the production side of it is going to be less, and therefore not really a worry.
It's all about opportunity, isn't it? And how hard you work for that opportunity. Some games you can work really hard and you get plenty of chances, and other games you don't do anything at all and you lose. You get battered. Like last week was United and City, but say no more about that. This is not that sort of podcast, right?
Isn't that bad? Because they were 4-0 up, City, against Man United. And and Pep just said to them at halftime, guys, we're going to start resting. He took a whole bunch of players off. And then it's still, United, yes, they scored 3 goals in the second half.
Do you think, right, a big part of that is the amount of substitutions they can do now? Because before the 3 substitutions, tactically the games were totally different. But now it's just like, okay, if they're going to get to what they consider a low-end team, they can play more youngsters and give their other players a rest. And if they get into trouble, they just bring the big guns on. But they've got 5 big guns to bring on instead of 3.
I agree. I did a video about that in the summer, and there was 3 things we took from that. One is you're going to be able to rest players more. Because the rotation is going to be higher. 2, you're going to be able to tactically affect a game more because you'll have the time to do it, and without the kickback of I've got to leave one person on the bench because of because of injury. So we're seeing a lot of teams now doing 3 substitutions. That's becoming like the standard now. When you're seeing 3 players come on, you're like, whoa, just a whole, and that will allow you to change the game more.
Exactly, and that's better for the teams with the bigger, better squads.
That's right.
Like
that's
right.
And that was my third. That was my third reason. The third reason was we saw in the summer teams just go crazy. More money spent in this transfer market than any other transfer market at all, because now there's a reason to have a bigger squad, because you can do more things when you're on the pitch and you can have more, choices in terms of how you're going to affect a team.
Forest took advantage of that.
I know. We're going to talk about Forest. I mean, when we get to the Friday night, we weren't on last night, but it's been a car crash for them. I just want to say hello to 18. 18 says, I think this is the perfect opportunity for Liverpool to bounce back from a horrible start. Xhaka red card and 3-0 to Liverpool. Oh, what? My God.
What?
What's going on, G? I hope everything's okay. Michael, I hope you're doing well, Michael. I hope everything is going really well. Can't wait to meet up with you soon. Cam says, crazy background, Apollo. Yeah, I tried to look for an Arsenal-Liverpool background, and this didn't have the green pitch, which I normally have. I don't know, man. It is kind of wild and crazy, isn't it? He says there's a big chance to really put down a marker that we are a Champions League level side again. Yeah, I mean, if you take Liverpool out and you've already beaten Spurs, that's your top four. Your top four is Man City, Arsenal, Spurs, Liverpool. So if you've already taken out Spurs and Liverpool, then really City is the only team you've got to worry about, which means you can fly against most of the teams that you'd be expected to beat.
Yeah.
G says, I think this is the only game where we really made a statement that we now have overtaken Liverpool. I think we are much better shape and they don't strike us as much as a fear as in the past. Their attack is now a little predictable. Lewis says he thinks it's going to be 2-2. He says it's a game where both can make a huge statement. Agreed. I do agree with that.
I do agree with that.
I do agree with that. Neil, so Jurgen Klopp's won just one of their opening sort of 7 games this season, drawing 4 and losing a couple, 11 points adrift of Arsenal.
Yeah. Where do you want me to start?
So, I mean, first of all, the injuries. I mean, sort of, we've got Curtis Jones, Andy Roberts.
Right. Okay. So Curtis Jones is now back in training. Andrew Robertson is, well, he's nearing return and he's getting he's starting to get his fitness back up, but he's not ready for tomorrow, which you guys will be happy about. But then again, we've got Simicus, who's doing really well, and he always plays well whenever Robertson's not there. And it's it's for him to try and make that position more difficult for Robertson to get back, and he's done well up until now. Who else have we got out? We've got
Thiago. What's happening with Thiago?
Thiago? Right, okay. So up until today, he wasn't present at training yesterday. But there is no rumours to say that he is still injured and he's not going to be back in time, or he's going to be back in time. So I'm still waiting to hear where he is with that. But yeah, he did get injured and he's on his way back. But there's nothing concrete as to if he'll be there, if he'll I'm not even sure if he's travelled down because they're travelling down today. Oh, bless you.
Yeah, I had to mute them. Did you hear that? I tried to mute it.
No, I saw that. Right. So I'm still waiting to find out whether Thiago is going to be present. I hope he is, and there is a big possibility that he could be playing tomorrow.
So I think Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain are still out.
Yeah, Chamberlain are still out as well. So they're not going to be back for a while. Arthur Miller, he's still absent as well at the moment. And those are sort of like the big injury problems that we had. But to be honest, the only one out of that I'm kind of worried about is Thiago. Keita hasn't been the player that we thought he was going to be, and Oxlade-Chamberlain, he spends a lot of time being injured anyway. So those two don't really make that much of a difference to the current squad at the moment. It's Thiago and Curtis Jones, who on his day is an excellent player, but of late he hasn't had a lot of those days. He to me, sometimes he just looks ordinary.
So,
sorry.
So it's just you've got a few questions here. G is saying, question for Neil: have Liverpool come to the end of a natural cycle and are in a squad transition? We talked about this on Friday night. Do you remember last season I said to you they were all entering their early 30s, like 31, yes. 32, yes. 33. Yeah. But I also did say to you, you've got Jota, Thiago,
Diaz.
Yeah, Diaz.
We've got Nunes now as well. So if you're talking about coming to the end of the team 2-3 seasons ago till now, the front three, yes. I mean, you look at Firmino. He wasn't firing last season anyway. Considering he's actually scored a couple of decent goals for us this season. Salah hasn't really. Obviously, he hasn't got going this season. Salah's getting on in age. He's still very fit. The problem with him.
So when you say he hasn't got going, is it his? So what happens? I've seen top quality players overcompensate. I was saying to someone today about Gabriel with us in defence. Some Arsenal fans were saying he's a liability, and I'm saying no. Sometimes he's trying to overcompensate trying to play two positions at once, trying to cover everyone else. Do you think that's happening with Salah? Because when I looked at the stats, Salah has created more chances this season than anyone else.
Yeah, the thing is, okay, so I don't always look at the stats when it comes to Salah. Salah is a very greedy player. Yeah, and a lot of Liverpool fans will tell you that. We love him when he's scoring goals, and he scores a high amount of goals each season. But to be honest, he could have scored double that. If you see the amount of chances he has, you kind of think he should be more on Haaland's level. To be honest, yeah, that he gets that many chances. The amount of, seriously, I haven't got the stats, but next week I'll get the stats of the chances he gets compared to the goals he scores. Yeah, it's got to be at least double, treble to what he actually scores. He misses so much. Yeah, he misses so much. And then you've also got to look at that because he obviously plays on the wing as well. If he's not got somebody in there to cross the ball to, he'll take it on himself. Yeah. And seriously, he could do a lot more, and he could be more. I mean, to me, he will always be a Liverpool great, but he could be that much better if he scores that much more goals. All he has to do is score at least 5 to 10 more goals per season, and you know, it'll be hard to take the golden boot off him. Other than Haaland, it'd be hard to take the golden boot off him. But as you see, this season, he's just not firing. He's just not firing. He's creating chances, which is good. But he's not in a position to score the goals from creating those chances. It's always left to someone else. And unfortunately, this season so far, whoever plays up front is misfiring.
Yeah, and let's see what G is saying. We saw this with Saka losing the ball high up the field in the North London derby, leading to the Spurs penalty. I hope Arteta's considered Klopp's new tactic switch and plan for it accordingly. So talking about that now, Klopp switched to more of an attacking formation against Rangers, didn't he? In the Champions League.
He went for a 4-4-2. He went 4-4-2.
He went with sort of 4 attackers starting in front of Thiago as well when they pushed up in a high formation. So in this game, do you see them staying at a 4-3-3 or do you see them staying in that 4-2-3-1?
To be honest, I think we're probably better off with a 4-3-3. But that's going to be down to whether Thiago is fit or not. Whether Thiago plays. Yeah, and when you look at it and you look across our midfield, the midfield is the weakest part of the team. Yeah, when you think about it. So if you're going to play a 4-4-2, we're going to struggle without Thiago.
Yeah.
You know, because what Klopp will do, Klopp will bring Fabinho in, but Fabinho is more of a defensive midfielder rather than an attacking midfielder. And if you've got to use him to kind of replace Thiago, we're in trouble. I hate to say it, but we're in trouble.
Cam says, I think that there's still a good team without Mane, and I don't agree with that. And without Van Dijk. And Van Dijk was, and I'll say was because I thought last season he was okay. This season, I think he's not as good. In his prime 3 or 4 years ago, I think he was the best in the world. So maybe there's something going on there, but
Van Dijk to me, he's still just as good. He's had this season he's been terrible, but unfortunately, I mean, what you got to look at is with most teams, whenever you have a key player playing bad, normally the players around them can kind of cover those mistakes and cover him properly. We haven't had that this season. We have not had that because you look at Van Dijk, right? Then you look at Matip. Yeah, if Matip's running forward, Van Dijk just looks so weak. Yeah, Alexander-Arnold, great at going forward. This has been his worst season so far in defending. We've conceded too many goals because of him on that side, and that's what worries me about tomorrow. You guys will exploit that. More teams are actually exploiting that because even Brighton exploited that last week. So we've got to see.
So looking at Arsenal now, Arsenal's going to be without obviously Smith Rowe. He ain't going to be around for a long time. Neither is El Nene. You're looking at next year for both of these guys. Zinchenko's the only really doubt for me, and he was rested midweek. So look, when I'm going to be sort of quite frank here because everyone's been asking me, have we even got a chance to beat Liverpool? My answer to that is this is the best chance we've had of beating Liverpool for so many different reasons. The reasons are so flooded out, spread it out, and variant because of many different factors. So Liverpool, we've talked about, and we've talked about their drop off. We've talked about players that they don't have anymore. We've talked about how Klopp is not pressing as much now, so he's less aggressive because of obviously how the team's confidence. He's always come out 3 or 4 times and said, we're not playing with a lot of confidence. When you don't have confidence, you tend to be a little bit more passive. That explains why they're not pressers. Yeah, that explains why they're not pressive much. On the flip side of that, now talking about Arsenal, when you look at last season, Arsenal went up to Anfield, drawed 0-0 with a lot of injuries and players missing. I thought they'd done really well. Big shout out to Rob Holding in that game. And that was in the Carabao Cup, so that wasn't even in league. In the league, when we went up there, again, a lot of injuries. We had to start a lot of young players. Sambi, Tavares had a nightmare. But before that, for 44 minutes, we matched Liverpool up really, really, really well before the mistakes started coming in. And look, you're talking about the youngest team in the league against one of the top 5 teams in the world. And I don't think sometimes that a lot of Arsenal fans understand the gulf in what that actually means. Having such an inexperienced outfield, talented, yeah, I get it. They got all these young players they had last year. But again, by very definition, Arsenal was still the youngest team in the league, which means that they were doing a lot of soul searching last season and trying to find out who they are and their identity. And you're coming up against one of the most well-oiled machines, in terms of Liverpool. That's just a gulf too high. And I think after 44 minutes, we saw Arsenal just capitulate against Liverpool. Why won't that happen now? Well, for a few reasons. One of them is because they're not as inexperienced now as people think they are. They've added a lot of winning mentality to the team. And they're one of the better ball possession teams in the league right now. They just look after the ball better. And the second reason, obviously, is because of just the wealth of confidence that the team has. And this brings me on to my main point. This brings me on to why Arsenal won't lose tomorrow. If I go back to games against Manchester City, against Liverpool, games against Chelsea that we've normally lost, we've lost those games because we've not been good with the ball at our feet. And we've been lacking playing possessional football. Hence, we make mistakes with the ball. We give the ball away. We have red cards. And, we've got a whole heap of players we can blame for that. I know we can't call Xhaka young. We can't call Gabriel young. We can't call David Luiz young. But my point is that we have just made mistakes which top teams have always capitalized on. Liverpool have been one of the beneficiaries of that, as well as Man City. And this season, we're just not making those mistakes. This season, we have been unbelievable in possession. And that, the Tierney Zinchenko argument has been for that reason and that reason only. And it's just because Arsenal are playing with a lot of confidence. They're just so good with the ball right now, so intelligent in their movement, so intelligent in their pressing. They've taken the best pressing forward statistically in the league in Gabriel Jesus. And then you add that with the intelligence of Zinchenko, and it's raised everybody's level. Look how Xhaka's playing now. Odegaard already has 3 goals. Saka now has come alive after a very slow start. Martinelli, is there a better wide left attacking player than him in the league right now? You can't even put Song on that level because Song has been so poor this season. So there's a lot of reasons why Arsenal are a different outfit, but the main reason is Thomas Partey. We never had him for the last 10 games last season, and just having him in the team right now is just a different level. With him controlling the midfield, our technical security with our attacking shape is ensured, and we have sort of more confidence with ball security and pushing up in possession, and that's where we've changed. So what I'm saying is the top teams are going to have fewer chances to take advantage of the mistakes that we make and turning those into goals, and that's why I think we're just going to be more competitive. What's your thoughts on that, Neil?
When it comes to tomorrow's game, I totally agree. You've also got to look at the start that you guys have had. In conjunction, you've got to look at a lot of the other top teams haven't had as good a start, which has put you guys up there definitely. Will you continue that? We just have to see. We have to see if teams like Liverpool, if Chelsea, start playing better, then it's going to be a different league. One of the reasons why you guys are up there is because Liverpool and Chelsea have both dropped. They've both dropped out. Yeah, right now both forms of both teams not finishing top four. It has to change, and they have to do a lot better. Which gives you guys a better chance. It gives Spurs a better chance as well of finishing the top four. United haven't been. Yes, they've been on a bit of a run, but United are a lot weaker compared to a couple of seasons ago in the way they play, the way they've been dropping points. So if you add all that together, that's giving you guys a better chance. Plus, you guys have been winning your games, which is an even better bonus for you.
Have you seen this? Have you seen the stat for that, Neil?
No, I don't want to see the stats. I have seen it, but I want to see it again.
It's something crazy. It's 26 games now where they haven't drawn a game. That's incredible. So in 26 games, we've either lost or won, and we've had no draw. That's why a lot of people last week against Spurs said they're going to draw. I was like, this team doesn't draw, man.
No, that's the key. That's the key. The key to winning the league, right, is the win-loss ratio rather than the win-loss-draw ratio. Because if you draw too many games, you're not winning the league. Yeah, because you're expecting everybody else to drop that many points as well. You know, because the thing is, you can play a couple of games, you can win them, you can lose the next one, and then win the next few games. Yeah, your points won't be that bad. But if you start drawing 3, 4, 5 games in a row, yeah, you're losing. That's up to 10 points you've dropped. 10 points, and that's hard to recover when the teams around you are actually winning and getting those 3 points every time you draw.
That's right. That's right.
And that's why we are where we are at this moment in time. We've drawn too many games, way too many games. Yeah, so, and then we've now got to make up the 11 points to catch you guys.
And that brings me to the fact that so after the worst start under Klopp, you need a reaction. Otherwise, you'll be completely out of the title race. Let's go into let's let you talk us through the Liverpool's possible lineup. Walk us through it. Would you make any changes? Do you think any?
Right. Okay. So looking at that, maybe Jota and Núñez, because he needs more game time. I know in the Champions League game, he was trying too hard and he wasn't getting there. He just needs more game time. And I think dropping Jota will give him that game time. This season, to be honest, in my heart, I've written it off. Yeah, I've written it off. Top 4 is all I'm looking at. But we need to get the players that we brought in. If Thiago's playing, that'd be great as well. Fabinho, Henderson. Trust me, I'm not a Henderson fan. I am not a Henderson fan. But yeah, looking at that lineup, yeah, it's probably the strongest we can do for now without Robertson.
Yeah, I think Arsenal are hoping for a Henderson Milner midfield.
No, don't swear at me. Do not swear at me, man. Do not swear at me. I deliberately didn't mention Milner because don't get me wrong, Milner for his age, right?
How old is he?
Physically fit. He's 36 or something like that. He's physically the man is so fit, right? But he's especially against Arsenal, he's coming against youngsters. Yeah. He's not going to be able to keep up with them. He can't keep up with them as fit as he is. He just can't do it. And you're noticing that in every game he plays now. Yeah. He will get up. It will get into the final third. But when he's trying to track back, he's getting left for dust.
I mean, the problem Liverpool are going to have is Arsenal's spine is so good right now, from Ramsdale to Saliba. I mean, Saliba, I'm not sure whether you're aware of this. Harry Kane had 2 touches in the box last week. One of them was the penalty kick.
Yeah, I watched that game.
Yeah, he literally, I mean, no one's getting any luck against Saliba this season. The only thing that he did wrong was scored an own goal, and then he went and he's actually added 2 on the score sheet. So he's covered for that mistake. But I mean, they're talking about him now. First of all, it was is one of the best in the Premier League. Sky Sports and BBC are now saying it's one of the top 5 in Europe. But we kind of knew last season when he was taking Mbappe out, they got the inkling in and he won the Player of the Year award. We know about all of that. But coming into the Premiership now, if you can keep Mbappe quiet, when he played for Saint Etienne and when he played for Marseille, it's just like the writing's on the wall that this guy's going to be a star, right? And then
he'll be a star. I think right now, the way you Arsenal fans are going on, I can see why you talking about the way you do. But for me, I've got to see that for 2 seasons. Yeah. You know what I mean? We've had a handful of games at the beginning of the season, and he's done well. But I'm not taking anything away from him.
That's why I think I brought up, because I brought up
to call him a great, and to put great and like one of the top players in the league, hands down. That's got to happen season in, season out. And realistically, he's a new player to you guys now because he was out on loan last season and now he's back, right? So we have to see what he does season in, season out. So for me, we can have this conversation in 2 seasons' time. Because I
don't think it would be 2 seasons because of what happened in France last season. I think that's where everybody was like, okay, he's more than ready now, and this guy's got a 2-year contract left. I'm hearing, I'm hearing Liverpool, Real Madrid, Chelsea are looking at what's going on. I'm hearing Juventus. Juventus was after Gabriel, so they're just moving from one Arsenal centre back to the other. But teams are sitting in there now, looking to see what's going on and monitoring it because
that's gonna be down to your owners and your manager to keep a hold of him to make sure he re-signs signs a new contract. Yeah. That's what you got. And the thing is, the fact that what the detriment to what you're saying at the moment is that he was out on loan. And when a player goes out on loan, to that player, it's like, what? Aren't I good enough for this team? Yeah. So he's going to have those doubts in the back of his mind. Yeah.
And I think if you talk to Tony Cox, he'll probably be the first to say to you that they're singing his name every week. He's loving the experience now in the interviews he's had. He's really enjoying it. But you can say as much as you want. If you ain't putting pen to paper, listen to nothing. I don't care what you say.
Exactly. No, it's good. It's good. All that, like with the fans singing his name, that sort of stuff. That's all a bonus, right? But what you got to remember is you got to think about how he felt when he went out on loan. Yeah. And he was out on loan for a long time.
Yeah, he felt wanted by Marseille. That's why he wanted to stay there.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. So the fact that he's come back now, it will have to take at least 2 seasons for him to kind of go, okay, maybe these guys really are serious about me. They do want me, because the thing with the fans is you can't watch what the fans want. Because the fans will always want the best for the team. But the owners and the manager think differently to the fans.
And the biggest thing for me, Neil, and this goes with Martinelli as well, who has 2 years left on his deal. The biggest thing for me is look at the league position. That's all. If you got a young player and you want to say to them, if players have gone and left to play for City, we've seen Grealish and all them guys do it. They've gone to play for Real Madrid. They've gone to Barcelona and they've died because we know it's not happening over there in that league. But if we've had players who've left and gone to Liverpool, Chamberlain and so when you look at where we are on the table, you've pretty much convinced your young players that if you want to have a future, entering your prime, and you want to compete for the title and everything else, Arsenal might be the best place for you. And so that's what their job is. Arteta and Edu's job is to show them that if you stay here, you might be able to. This could be it.
Well, and that's the thing. The thing is, right? The way you guys spend your money, you're not like throwing money away. And you have brought a lot of young guys through, and this is why I don't get why you send some of those players out on loan, because it's not like you're like a City who can go out and just buy anyone they want and fill that position. You have to work with your youngsters. You have to give them that confidence that they know they're going to play.
Because we're not even we weren't even in Europe, Neil.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. But you have to give your players that confidence that they're going to be in that first 11 or at least on the bench and get game time week in, week out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Nketiah is a big thing with that. Nketiah is a big thing
I'm
with that.
surprised that he stayed.
Me too, because
I'm
when I look at
surprised he
him,
stayed.
and I put on Twitter and on the Arsenal page, 12 goals in his last 15 starts for the
Yeah,
club. I mean,
yeah,
if I look around the league, I can go to about 12 teams that don't, not even 12. I can go to 15 teams that don't have a striker like that.
yeah.
To show
I
you,
mean,
7 teams came in for him in the summer, and it just goes to show what a command. And this guy can't even start because he's got Jesus in front of him.
yeah,
Now they've got to work
exactly.
out a way to get Jesus on the left and then make them play together, because when they play
Yeah,
together, they're
yeah.
dynamite.
But will that actually happen? What you've got to look at is right. Arteta needs Jesus to score, and
Yeah,
as long as Jesus is scoring, he's gonna mess with that. He's gonna keep him there.
yeah,
Yeah. So Nketiah will probably get domestic cup games, more domestic cup games.
yeah. He
Yeah.
needs more than
And
that, though, man, because
no,
he
no,
needs
no,
more, man.
he definitely does. But that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
is you guys have brought a couple of players in from City, right? And it's changed the dynamic of your team. But then it's also messing with the minds of those players that they've actually taken their slots from,
yeah,
you know? And then the players around them are going to think, hold on, if they brought this guy in and he's keeping this player out, what about me? What happens if
yeah,
they
yeah.
bring somebody from my
Exactly.
position? Yeah, and
I think
that's down to Edu and
I
Arteta.
think so far Arteta's keeping him happy, but we know
Yeah,
how this all works, man. We know how this all
yeah.
works. Big shout out to Andrew. Andrew's just joined the party. Let me go through the Arsenal team sheet as we come to the end of this preview. I'm going with really Ramsdale, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko. I was thinking about the Zinchenko and Tierney, but just because I was talking about Arsenal's ability to be intelligent on the ball, play ball possessional football, and stay away from those mistakes that have cost us games against big teams. We just need all hands on deck. And this is the thing, I have to completely remind Arsenal fans, towards the end of last season, the last 10 games, the guys like Partey and they were all injured. And
Yeah.
Saka, Odegaard, and Martinelli were all being overplayed. They were exhausted. We didn't rotate because we had a very thin squad. And I think when we look at this game now, this is the strongest Arsenal lineup that you've probably seen for a very long time.
In
Yeah.
the game tomorrow, with that lineup that you've chosen, the one name that kind of scares me is Saka. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus doesn't scare you?
No, no. Saka's the one.
Wow.
I tell you. Do you know what happened with you? You obviously watched the game against Spurs, right?
Yeah.
Saka put so much fear in them. There was at times there was 3 Spurs players around him
Yeah,
every time he got the
that's
ball,
right.
right? Yeah, they tried to keep him out of the game, right? I know Liverpool cannot afford to put 3 players around him. Yeah, so he's going to get more freedom, and he's going to cause more problems in tomorrow's game. Yeah, if he has, I'm hoping he has a nightmare tomorrow. Clearly, hoping all your players have a nightmare tomorrow, and your form goes out the window tomorrow, right? But I mean, Jesus, yeah, he's still got to make. I still think that he still needs to improve on what he's done, and he's going to do it. Yeah, this season he's going to be the name that you guys. I know you're kind of singing his praises now, but the way you're singing it now, that's nothing compared to the end of the season. Nothing compared to the end of the season. But as I said, Saka's the one that scares me for tomorrow, because we can't afford to put 3 players on him. We can't do that. And we don't mark like that anyway. We don't put players around a dangerous player. We still give them their freedom, unfortunately. And that's what's happened with us this season as well.
So overall, Neil, let's have your prediction. For me, I have to say, and I can see predictions already starting to come through on the on the page. For me, I think it is going to be. Oh, it's going to be tough, but I have to sort of say it's going to be 2. Yeah. See, because you know what it is. Look, I don't see us losing unless it's self-inflicted with us making mistakes. If we have a problem with discipline, we make mistakes, or Xhaka gets a red card, then we're going to lose. Yeah. But if we put in a solid performance, which is a disciplined performance, which I think that we will do, because even the game we lost against Man United, we still outplayed them. So I think we're going to play really well, and I can see us winning 2-1. I really can. But if we don't, then I can probably see it at 2-2. A couple of guys, let's see what's going on here. 18, man, you're just pissing me off now, man.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
he's carrying on with that
Okay.
thing again.
My prediction for the game. Let me just get it out.
18,
right?
man.
No. My prediction with the game, because the way we're playing at the moment, we're the draw specialists. I think that would be 1-1 or 2-2. Yeah.
Against a team that doesn't draw. Interesting.
Listen. You look at the games we've drawn. Look at the games that Brighton should never have scored 3 goals.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
We've got the firepower, and at the moment it's Bobby Firmino. So if you guys can keep Firmino out, then you'll win probably 2-0. Yeah, if you can keep Bobby out, right? Salah, as I said, he's not. I'd like him to kickstart his game tomorrow and start pumping in goals, but I just can't see it. I just can't see it. Right. So for me, it'll be a 1-1 or a 2-2. Yeah, that's how I see it. But I can't see us spanking you lot 3-0. Not on the form that we've got, because I'm not looking at history. I'm looking at this
history's gone, man. That's not the same team anymore.
Forget last season and the season before. You have to look at this season and look at how both teams have started. You guys have just rocketed to the moon.
That's what I'm saying. Anything from the Wenger era or Emery era is gone. This is every person now outside of Xhaka has been brought in here by Arteta. So
we are still trying to put fuel into our rocket. Your rocket's already on the moon.
Yeah.
It's already on the moon. Yeah, we haven't started yet. Yeah, I'm hoping that we kickstart it tomorrow, but it depends on whether he plays 4-4-2 or 4-3-3, and that will determine the score that happens.
So I'm going to go with a 2-1. Andrew says Arsenal cannot simply buy ready-made players and talent. There has to be a level of patience, and yes, totally agreed.
Of course.
18, you deserve to lick in your head for that, man. He's just too lick in his head. Andrew says, I believe who scores first will win and dictate the game. And Andrew is going for, I did see he scored down here. Yeah, Andrew's going for a 2-1, same as me. Cam is going 2-0 Arsenal. G is going 3-1 to Arsenal.
Well,
Daniel, my cousin, is saying 4-2 to Arsenal. Says, come on, you Gunners, man. What's good, family? Emirates is ready to go. He's already at the Emirates today, actually. So big shout out to you. Big shout out to you. Andrew says, Liverpool, that's what I've been saying, man. They desperately need. He did so much for them, and it's not just the goals. Go and watch this guy play. Go and watch him play for Bayern Munich, and you see the reason why Sane, what's his name? Serge Gnabry, them guys ain't getting on in front of him. This guy is the whole package, man.
Yeah, we do miss him. I mean, clearly we miss him in the way we play, but we have got enough good players to make up for that. They just got to work it between them, and they haven't been. Yeah, so for me, our start is a combination of losing Mane and these guys not getting out the starting blocks. Yeah, they haven't, and they have to start. Obviously, more games that goes on under the current form, we won't even finish top 4. It's something's got to change. It's got to change, and it's got to change soon.
Do you think it would get that bad that Liverpool won't? I can't see a world where Liverpool doesn't. Like I said, last season was an anomaly. For me, they played some of the finest football I've ever seen and still didn't win. And that's the reason why Arsenal won't win the title this season, because of Man City. Yeah, and it's even worse now because last year Man City never had Haaland. Now they've got Haaland. It's just like, it ain't going to happen for anybody. It's like it's Man City's title to lose unless that kid gets injured.
I can't see him getting injured. He just looks like a specimen. He looks like one of those specimens that he's never going to get injured. The only time he doesn't play, right, is if Pep goes, I'm giving you a rest, and you're getting that rest. You're not playing this game. Yeah,
and you're talking about Man City money, Man City money would clone him. They would clone him and say, "Look,
listen, they've probably done that already. They've probably done that already, man. Yeah,
you rest and let me get you."
They go to the Haaland vending machine, put in their coin, and out drops a new one. You know what I mean? That's what they probably got.
Oh God!
That's what they probably got, man.
I like what Andrew says here. Thiago aside, Liverpool have a functional midfield. But I think everybody is saying that Partey and Xhaka are the best midfield in the Premier League this season. So it's going to be a big test. It is going to be a huge test.
Our
What they're
midfield,
going to do.
is to me is one of the weakest. If you look at the top six, we've got one of the weakest midfields.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thiago's the only one that anyone can really sing proper praise about. What does Hendo do? He hits the ball left and right, left and right, left and right. Yeah,
Well,
it's great when you want to slow the game down,
yeah.
but you can't slow the game down in the 83rd minute when you're losing. You
Mm,
know, you need that person to be able to pick players out. Thiago is
yeah.
the only one. That's why I was saying that originally. What we should have done is we should have gone for Coutinho, because
Yeah.
Klopp had Coutinho playing like that before he
Yeah.
went off to Bayern Munich. Not by
Yeah.
Barcelona. Yeah, bring him back, put him alongside Thiago. That's a dangerous midfield.
Yeah, I think for us, I mean, I've talked about Xhaka and Partey, but we haven't even mentioned Odegaard and
Yeah,
Zinchenko. And
yeah,
that's when you start to see the wealth of why
yeah,
Arsenal's dominating so many games, because they're just so good with the ball. They're so
yeah.
good with the ball right now. And then even if all else fails in that midfield, then you've got to deal with a goalkeeper who's pushing for England, which is Ramsdale, and then Saliba, who's just a Rolls Royce. So
Do you
it
know, it's
is,
confidence. You guys have a
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
confidence, and
yeah,
that's what's been getting you the results. Yeah, it's that. Yeah, but we'll see. Your true test will. I don't think your true test will be tomorrow. Your true test will be against City, because
yeah.
City are the measuring stick.
They are,
Yeah,
they are,
if
yeah,
you can get a result, or even if you get a draw,
yeah,
right? If you can match them, which is difficult,
yeah.
that shows how far you've come.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And
that's the
there's a
game I
lot
want
of
to see.
players with a lot of things to prove in that game.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Jesus,
That's what I'm saying.
Zinchenko, that's going to be the game
Exactly.
of their life, man.
Exactly, and that's the game that I really want to see, is when you
Yeah.
guys play them. Yeah.
Right, so let's cover Andrew and then we can get out of here. So Andrew says, side note, Haaland should have found Roy Keane and chinned him after that outrageous. I know, yeah, I know, believe. It says Keane has never received condemnation, let alone punishments inflicted on another player. Oh, that is hilarious. That is hilarious. All right, listen, Neil, thank you for joining us.
No, you're
Um,
welcome, mate. You're
and
welcome.
guys in the chat, thank you very much. Once again, I apologize for the lack of content. It's just because I haven't been well in the last week or so, but I'm recovering slowly. I will do a match day vlog for tomorrow. So we're not doing a live stream because most of them guys as well are at the NFL game. There's the Green Bay Packers game versus New York Giants. Tony's nephew, as you guys know, Joshua Corbin, he's playing for the Giants as well. He's on the practice squad. So
Nice,
Tony
nice.
and most of the guys will be at that game. We're not talking about where it's being played at the toilet bowl, but I just hope Tony a good day. Hopefully, we'll all have a good day tomorrow. Daniel, big shout out to you. I'm going to see you tomorrow at the Emirates. So listen, guys, thanks for everyone joining us today, and we'll speak to you in the next one, man. Peace out, everybody.
Okay. People, have a good one. Speak to you later. Have a good one, Paulo.